Hey everybody, so today I want to show you a new one that I came up with. I'm going to call this the barber pole because it reminds me of the stripes on a barber pole. So the first thing we're going to do is we need 3 inner strands. This one's kind of tricky because it's a different technique that I've done in the past. So the first one I'm going to show you, and then the next ones I'm going to pause, come back, and I'll have them done. I just don't want this video to be super long. Okay, so the first thing I gotta do is I want to take my gold here. I want to go up from the bottom, bring out about 3 to 4 inches. Okay, you're going to cross, here, let's do it this way so you can kind of see what I got going. You're going to cross over your back one, and you're just going to do a slip knot. So you're just going to cross over, bring it up right next to it, then you're going to cross over this one and then bring it up through this loop right here. So just go right up through there, and this is going to give us a slip knot. So once you get this pulled tight, then you can pull on your main cord and it'll snug right up to the buckle. And you want to make sure that this is nice and tight, because before it's all said and done, we're actually going to snip that little bit there and we're going to singe it in place. Alright, so I'm going to do the next 2 here, and then I'll show you what else to do. So I'm actually going to show you how to do another one, just to make sure we get it right, because I don't know how well you can see the gold here. So I'm going to do it with the black, but I just went up through the bottom of the buckle. So we're going to pull through, cross, bring it around, cross over this one, take that one around, and bring it through this loop. So you should have something that looks like this. Let me zoom in on this for you. So that's exactly what it should look like, and then just go ahead and pull this tight, like that, and then you should be able to snug that right up to the buckle. Alright, so go ahead and get your last one done. Okay, so we've got all 3 of our slip knots in place, and what I want you to do now is just to kind of tug on each one, get that nice and tight so that it doesn't have a chance to undo itself. And then we're going to just run all 3 cords through our fingers, get rid of all those twists and turns, get them nice and straight. Right. And let me make sure I got my buckle the right way. Alright, so I actually need to flip these over, and then we're going to run these up through our buckle. Okay, and what that does, that gives us 3 working strands and 3 inner strands. And I have not seen one of these yet. And there's our 3 inner strands and our 3 working strands. So we're going to undo this, set this up like you normally would. Now for this one, take your 2 left cords, in this case it's the blue and the black, take those off to the left, and then you got your gold one. Now what I want to do is I want to lock these onto the buckle. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do just a regular knot on this first one. I'll zoom in on this so you can see what I got going on. So make sure you get your length correct, and you're just going to go around and through this loop. And pinch your thumb and finger right here so that it doesn't move on that buckle. And then go ahead and pull that tight. And that'll get it in place so that it doesn't move. You could do a Solomon here, but I think it'd be too bulky. So this should work just fine. Now, double check your length after you tie each one, but go ahead and tie each one and I'll be back. Alright, got all 3 of mine tied onto my buckle here. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to be just like the checkmate, but instead of having 2 strands, you're going to go with 3. So this one, this is my center strand. I'm actually going to create a loop, open up between the 2nd and 3rd strand, and weave this loop up through those strands. And push this up. This one's going to be a little difficult. This is one of the harder ones I've done. You want to keep all your 3 center strands all together, and then just kind of hold everything with your finger and your thumb. Okay, so you get one like that, and then you take the next one and do the same thing between 1 and 2, between strands 1 and 2. So now you've got 2 loops. Okay, so let me see if I can get down on here for you so you can see this. So I've got 1 loop coming up between strand 1 and 2, and then I have another loop, the black one, coming up between 2 and 3. Now what I want to do is line these up right next to each other so you can put your finger right through them, just like that. And you're going to take your 3rd cord and you're going to basically just thread it right through those loops. Just like that. Make sure you get all your twists out. Alright, so once you get that pulled through, then you can reach behind. Make sure you get all your slack out. So I got a little bit of slack from over here. So make sure you get all that slack out, and then you can pull these tight and then cinch them up. There you go. Now this first section, just because you have these knots up here at the top, that's going to be kind of a pain to work with for the moment. Alright, so now your black one comes off to the right side. So whichever one is on the right, whichever your right loop is, it's going to move over to the right. Now the blue one is actually going to be in this spot where the black one is. So we're going to do the same thing again. And the gold one is going to take the place of the blue one. So we just take our blue one now, so it wasn't between 1 and 2, we're going to move it between 2 and 3. So we're just going to create a loop and press it up through. Just like that. And then we're going to take the gold and do another loop up between 1 and 2. There we go, so we have 2 loops again. And thread your 3rd one through those loops. Now you're going to have a little slack from the one that you threaded through. See, we have a little slack on the gold here. So make sure that you pull up on these loops first to get all that slack out. And once you pull up on those, then you can reach behind and pull those loops through. Pull those loops tight, I should say. And then you can pull this tight. Just make sure you get everything nice and tight. Okay. And I'm going to do one more here. So the blue basically started at this spot, moved over one, moved over again, so now it's going to be the one that we thread it through the 2 loops. So whichever one you thread through, that's going to be your left loop. The left one will then move to the right one on the next step. Like this one. This gold one is going to move over one, come up through as a loop there. And this black one this loop is giving me a hard time. There we go. Got the loop there. Now this black one, we're going to create a loop here between 1 and 2. And then thread the blue one through that. Make sure you get the slack out. And then you can pull these down nice and tight. And then cinch it up. It's only going to work if everything's nice and tight. Pull it as tight as you can. Now the only ones you can't really pull as tight as you can are when you pull down through the top, because you'll actually pull them right through the middle. But on this one, the one that you threaded through, pull that tight. When you're getting your slack pulled out, get all that tight. I've got a little bit of work to get this one done, and I'll be back. Now I've got my 2 next loops here ready to go, ready to get stitched through with the gold. One what I'm kind of having trouble with is trying to figure out how I'm going to finish this. I think I've come up with a way. So what I'm going to do here is I've got my 2 loops ready to be stitched. Let me zoom in just a little bit on this for you. And I'm going to pull this through. I'm just going to leave that for a minute. And I'm going to do a Solomon knot with 2 of these. Oops, I forgot to pull that slack through there first. Pull that slack through. Now we can pull that down, pull this tight. Alright, so what I want to do now is I've got basically a black on the right and a blue on the left. But I want to crisscross these. Okay? Well, let me see. I think we'll be alright. So whatever loop is on your left here, take that off to the left side. Whatever loop is on the right, bring that off to the right. Now you're going to take your left side, take that over the top, take your black over the blue, take it around back and up through that loop. And go ahead and pull this nice and tight. Now what that does is that gives us 3 different spots where the paracord comes through. 1, 2, and 3. You never want to have paracord, 2 pieces of paracord going through the same hole. It just makes it too loose. Now one thing I also did while I was finishing this up, I cut the ends of my slip knots and I singed the ends of them. Just so I didn't have that extra piece of paracord. This is all I cut off of them right here. So not a whole lot, just about 1 inch. Alright, so I'm just going to cut these off here real quick. Get this singed in there. I've got some new lighters coming in. They're the butane, what do they call them? Jet lighters. It's more of like a jet flame instead of just a flame. You can kind of direct it a little bit better than just a regular lighter. You can point it straight at it and have the heat be directed right towards a spot instead of just kind of covering a whole area like I am now. I don't know, I think I have 3 or 4 different lighters on the way. Those will be going up on the website pretty soon. Actually, I think they're here today. I just haven't been out to get the mail yet. And we'll get that last one. And as I was doing this, I'm not going to call this the barber pole. Actually, after I see that this is all finished now, I actually am going to call this the snake skin. I'll show you why when I get this pressed in there. There we go. Okay, so that's pretty much finished now. I would say that's a completed bracelet. But if you look at this, one thing you want to do is you want to pinch these 2 center loops together so that you can't see the paracord that's underneath of it, the one that you threaded through. So just pinch all these together, and that's what we call the snake skin. This would look good with, you could use 1 color, 2 colors, 3 colors. I think 1 color would look really good. And then if you flip this over, you have another nice cool looking pattern here too. So you could actually make this one pattern, this another one, but I really like the way this turned out. This is a bigger version of the Checkmate, which actually I have right here. You can kind of see the difference. It's a little bit wider. So you have the Checkmate and you have the snake skin. Well, that about covers it. So make sure you please subscribe. Thanks for watching, and paracord on.